This is a Wild Things show, cooking wild game with Rich McNaughton. With me today I have Starla Batzko from ilovedip.com. And she has her own line of seasonings, and with her line of seasonings she also uses this device, which is, she says it's similar to a crock pot, but gets the job done in about an hour instead of 10 hours. So why don't we bring Starla on and she can start explain to us what we have here.
Well, thanks, Rich. Appreciate you having me. Today we have a power cooker, which cooks your meat or your vegetables or your soups or your wings under pressure, so you're expediting the cooking process. So something, like I told you before, that would take lots of hours can be done in 30 minutes to an hour instead. That's
going to be pretty amazing if it really works, so we're going to try it out here today. One of the reasons for this cook show is, I was a big game hunter and hunting guide, and I had a half dozen to a dozen recipes, so I thought I was a pretty good cook until I ran into some professional cooks, and then I realized how lousy of a cook I really am. We all have one or two great recipes, but that's all we have is one or two great recipes. And what I found is that if you have 6 or 8 great recipes, the meat doesn't last very long in your freezer, and that gives you more incentive to go hunting again. And it makes the family more supportive of your hunting because they like the meat too.
Well, there's nothing worse than having a freezer full of meat that you don't use and then it gets wrecked. So today we're here to mix it up a little bit and try something new. And I know you have a whole video series, don't you, Rich?
Yeah, we have more than 10 DVDs out currently on different game, and even on canning of fish and canning venison, different alternatives for storage of meat. So yeah, we have quite a few cooking shows out. And
right now they're on your website, are they not?
Right now there's a lot of information on my website, which is wildthingshow.com, and along with Starla's website you'll find recipes, because her seasonings, weren't they just originally dip seasonings or something like that?
They started off as dip mixes, and I love to cook and I have a family that loves to eat. So as we started working with them, we realized, man, these are fantastic on vegetables and fish and crackers and venison, so they can do so much more other than being a dip. So today we're going to use the glorious garlic on this turkey breast.
So what are we cooking today?
Today we're going to make a sweet garlic wild turkey.
So I have a piece of wild turkey that was taken about 5-6 days ago, but it did make it into the freezer. So we thawed it out for this recipe here. Well, good. Well, I'll let you get started here, and I'm going to get out of your way and watch.
Thank you, Rich. Today we're going to be using the power cooker. So the first thing you do is take the lid off, and inside of it there's an insert. So we're going to spray that with a little cooking spray that'll just make cleanup a little bit easier. So place it back inside. And then we're going to add our turkey breast. You could also use the legs or the thighs of the turkey too. Then we're going to sprinkle it with my glorious garlic seasoning. And we're going to add about a half a packet over the top of that. Then we have a half a cup of honey. So put that on top of the turkey breast. And a half a cup of soy sauce. When you're using a power cooker, you're going to want to have some liquid in there because that's what helps make everything nice and tender. And then you're going to use 1 onion. Here you could add carrots or potatoes. So that's like 4 carrots. And that's about 5 potatoes. And then I always like sprinkling just a little bit more of the glorious garlic over the top. So this is a super simple recipe to do. Put the lid back on. And then you're going to make sure there's a release, which releases your pressure, and then there's a closed. So put it in the closed position. Then put it on cook. Go to the highest pressure available. And then about 30 minutes, it'll be all moist and ready to go. So we'll be back in a half an hour to see how this is doing. I'm Starla Batzko with Starla Seasonings and Mixes, and we're back after in a half an hour with our sweet garlic wild turkey. So we're gonna release the pressure on the power cooker now and see how our turkey turned out. Now this is hot, so be careful. Then you just turn the lid and be careful because it is hot, and hold it away from you. And it is just beautiful. Your potatoes, your carrots, and your turkey are all ready to go. Okay. Here you can see the turkey, the potatoes, and the carrots are all nice and tender and moist. So now we're ready to lift our turkey breast. It smells just fantastic, and if you want to double check the temperature, you're going to want this at 165 degrees so that you know it's cooked thoroughly. And the sauce that's left in the pot, you can thicken that with cornstarch or arrowroot powder and place that over the top of your potatoes. And then you'd have almost like a gravy, but it would be sweet and garlicky. So we place the meat thermometer into the center of the turkey breast, and you want it to be at least 165 degrees. Ours is reading at 180, so you know that it's not pink in the center and it's safe to eat. I'm Starla Batzko with Starla Seasonings and Mixes. We're with the Wild Things Show, Cooking Wild Game with Rich McNutt, and today we made sweet garlic wild turkey.
Become a wild game cooking master by watching our professional chefs show us how to prepare outstanding wild game meals, desserts, and side dishes. Thanks for watching the Wild Things Show, Cooking Wild Game. This is Rich McNutt. Enjoy.